We did it. We finally did it. ABC Gamer has secured an interview with Jacob Janerka, Australia gaming's most enigmatic figure. Jacob! Okay. Where should we do this? Jacob Janerka is a game dev from Melbourne, but you probably know him from one of his many viral tweets, videos about game development.
It's like a regular FPS, but all the guns are floppy.
Or the time he and collaborator Ivan Dixon pitched a Seinfeld adventure game.
No one can control Kramer.
He's also released the super successful adventure game Paradigm, and is currently working on his next game, The Dungeon Experience, a thrilling world of high fantasy run by a level 1 mudcrab turned entrepreneur. Jacob's games are big on humour and absurdity, so I didn't know why I expected this interview to go smoothly.
Jacob, can we get started with the...
No.
Cozy.
It's not. It's actually really uncomfortable.
Refreshing.
Why are you drinking so much milk?
Various reasons, maybe related to horrible experiences, but mostly for idea generation.
This is way worse.
I think it's pretty good.
Why is it full of milk?
This absolutely does not work.
You're just being cynical. You're gonna have to try it for yourself.
I'm not gonna drink.
Milk.
Okay. Jacob, have you ever had a real job?
Probably my first job was like picking up pennies on the road.
Picking up,
Like American pennies specifically, like not even Australian dollars. I was just like going around and finding them.
Who paid you for that?
Just the world, you know?
So humour is a huge part of almost everything that you make.
Yeah.
How do you go about embedding this humour in your games, your art?
I do think a lot about the humor when I'm making stuff, but sometimes it's just like, whenever I try to do anything serious, it always ends up leaning towards like the comedic slant. Like all my serious stuff, people are like, this is okay, like it's not that interesting. And then I did like a comedy story and suddenly like people actually like laughing and enjoying it. And I was like, oh, well maybe I should just make jokes instead of like make a sad dystopian sci-fi story.
Now, where do you get your ideas from?
Mostly from inhaling massive amounts of dairy milk.
How much milk?
You know how you like eat too much cheese before you go to bed?
Yeah,
and then you kind of have like nightmares? I do the same with milk, basically. Right. I feel like lukewarm is better because it's like, it gives that almost like fear response because, you know, it can potentially bacteria could be in there too. People say like the gut bacteria connection to the brain like influences you a lot.
Please stop. You can't tell people they're going to be drinking chunky milk and thinking they can draw really pretty pictures.
This is Big Pharma again. This is Big Pharma right here that's trying to block.
No, I went to a big farm. That was a different thing, Jacob. Yeah, that was a different thing.
We gotta have this right.
I'm doing it. Can we get back to where do your ideas come from?
You don't have the luxury, at least when making games, to wait for the inspiration all the time. Like, of course, like I get like stupid ideas on the go or whatever. The grind is where most of the stuff that comes out.
So you're always prepared to create ideas. Is that why you're always wearing rollerblades?
I've told you, I won't sign this unless I get to wear them.
No, it's an OH&S thing. If you just sign it, we can try to figure something else out.
I told you, I need to wear them! Yeah, I mean, that's just another part of my process. And I also need to just often be able to escape quickly.
Jacob, you had your start in game development and art and everything in Perth. Was that the inspiration behind the post-apocalyptic wasteland of your first game?
Yeah, like living in the most isolated city in the world like gave me this like really big inspiration to want to move to Melbourne like every other creative that lives in Perth.
So Jacob, you've had a lot of experience going viral. I actually saw to be honest, quite messed up tweet about you drawing yourself in a shirt with the nipple holes cut out. In terms of virality and helping you in your career in video game development, how has it helped you?
If I'm being honest, like things that are like I get randomly go viral, like help not at all.
Really? There's no connection?
Yeah, not a lot, unless I force the connection. I posted the game as like a comment, like, oh, I have to make this game, like blah, blah, blah. And I like checked the stats to see if it converted to any wish list. And it gave me like 30 wish lists. And,
Okay.
But the comic has got like 5 million views, right?
Again, it's kind of like that hammer to the nail. You constantly
Right.
try to find opportunities and avenues to funnel it into the work that you care about, which is your video game development.
Yeah, totally. I think at the beginning when I was first starting out, it was like super useful because no one knew who I was.
Yes.
Like, so when I did like the Seinfeld stuff or whatever, that really like opened up people to know who I am. But
We've got it. You mentioned the Seinfeld game. Let's talk about the Seinfeld. It's a Seinfeld point and click video game that has like the characters walking around in Jerry's apartment.
I was super stressed making my first point and click adventure game. I love Seinfeld, so I was like, all right, let's make like a Seinfeld mock-up. And then that like went pretty viral at the time. Like it wasn't like huge viral, and I was like, oh, like maybe there's something to this, and I kept on like adding more and more things. Surprisingly, that was really good because I had a bunch of bigger game dev celebrities like following me and asking me about it and stuff. So like even when I went to GDC like later, like I would be like, oh, I made a game called Paradigm. And like, I don't know what that is. And like I did the Seinfeld thing. And they go, oh.
That went viral, but I mean, I'm looking on my pages for video games, store pages, and I'm not seeing it on there. What's happening?
I wouldn't say it's upsetting, but it's a shame that we weren't able to take it further. Like, you know, we had Mark Hamill retweet it, Elijah Wood, Jason Alexander a year later retweet it. But we had
George Costanza retweet your Seinfeld point and click game, but it's still not available to actually play.
No, and we even had like LA agents like trying to get it. We had like Hollywood Reporter reported on it. We eventually did get contacted by a marketing company in LA, and they were like, oh, we would love to use it for a big promotional push. And then Sony says, like, oh, like we'd love to do it, but we don't own the rights, we own the distribution rights, so you have to pitch it to Warner Brothers.
All that.
So that just went nowhere. I think they just weren't interested in it at the time. Now there's like a Seinfeld picture book, there's a Seinfeld board game.
We have to get a game.
I don't understand what's stopping them, but
I mean, who knows? It could happen. I do have a question though. Rollerblades, leather jacket.
Yeah.
Why?
Just want to be as obnoxious as possible. Really.
Yeah.
I mean.
You're all good at it.
Oh, thank you.
What are the advantages of being an indie developer?
Probably some people will hate me saying this, but like generally being irresponsible is like not meeting deadlines, not having to filter yourself too much. I don't want to use the words edgy, but just not worrying too much about having to represent this big kind of company. And because of that, you're able to do things in a more unique way. But then that comes with the cons of like not having the support from like a bigger company.
I feel like what you're speaking to is like authenticity. To be able to do the things that you really want to do, and it's not sanitized, clean type of thing. It's really you just opening your head and then letting it all come out.
It's always going to be put through like a commercial filter. So like when I'm still making the game, I'm still thinking like, is anyone going to buy this? Is this going to be like, I try not to let that poison the process or anything. I feel like there is a synergy between the two where, you know, I want to entertain people, I want to make them laugh, find things interesting, and that doesn't have to be alienating.
So Jacob, tell us about what your team's working on now, the Dungeon Experience.
Dungeon Experience is a first-person comedy narrative adventure game where you visit a high fantasy theme park, where you can get the greatest loot of them all, true financial freedom. It's run by a low-level mud crab who has dreams of becoming an alpha business entrepreneur.
What are you looking at? I might actually take this chair. I don't think it'll bother me at all.
Sorry, I'm just having some inspiration there, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Just a little bit of the E. chloride bacteria from the milk from before. It's the only thing that gives me inspiration. I'm afraid if I quit, I won't be able to have ideas anymore.
Oh, so now you need it to fuel your system?
I don't.
They call that dependency.
Well, we all technically milk dependent.
No one has ever said that. No one has ever said we are all technically milk. No. I must say, like, you know, being a fan of your work for so long now that
Thank you.
It's not like anything else. You painted a glam rock pug.
Yeah.
Your post-apocalyptic video game. You've got pixel art for Seinfeld point and click.
Yeah.
Dungeon Experience is a 3D dungeon crawling experience game. Like, I find that you're able to assume a lot of different styles. Does this speak to your personality as someone who can't sit still?
Yeah, I think my brain is like chaotic in a certain way. I do love experimenting with all sorts of stuff, but I think a lot of it just comes down to is like a belief in oneself. Like, that sounds potentially corny, but any of these things that I'm doing, I think anyone else can do. It's just, I'm just like, oh, I want to try that, see how it goes, and see how I can implement it into my work. Whenever I've done like a mixed media thing, it's like, oh, I want to play with this, but how can I bring it back into what I'm doing as the main project? That creates a good inspiration of like new ideas and new ways of approaching things. So it does probably reflect on who I am.
So how would you distill your art style into 3 words?
Dairy, little face, nipple.
Jacob's 3 words for his style is dairy, little face, nipple.
You asked me to share myself with everyone, and that's what I'm trying to do, you know, and you're coming at me like this is some weird thing. I feel like if people spoke their true happiness, they would have similar answers to me.
Or you're wearing a leather jacket and rollerblades, and I'm sitting on a cinder block.
Yeah.
Jacob.
Get off the chair!
All right, I have one last question for you, Jacob.
Yes.
How fast are you on those bad boys?
Let me show you.
Milk, 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 milk. Milk, 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 milk.
Milk?
Milk.
Milk.
I don't think it's working.
That's what you think.
No, it's not working.